Well, welcome to Papa Bear's Peppers, and I'm Harold. Today it's going to be a little bit of a different episode, and while we're going to be talking about this, and I know that it's preemptive, it's very early right now in the growth season. It's something that you're going to have to address soon. We all do. And I'm talking about using a Castile soap. No, this isn't honey, but it's as good as honey because it's going to really work for us. This is homemade. And in this video, I want to show you how I made it. Now, know that I did not create it, but it took me a while to produce this video to capture everything and how I use it and everything else. Now, a lot of us out there, when it comes to aphids, IPM Integrated Pest Management, and aphids, mites, things of that nature, and some of the other pests that we have out there. A lot of times we like to use Dawn dish soap, right? But the problem with this is a lot of them are becoming antibacterial. Now, that's all well and good if that's what you want, but what it does when you do an antibacterial soap is you kill a lot of the microbes and other organisms in your soil when you spray a soap for aphids and mites, thrips, things of that nature. So the biggest problem is that it can also cause damage. Dish soaps are also used as a suffocant or something to break the water tension so that, well, your foliar sprays and using neem oil, things of that nature, when you're spraying for pests, this helps it to actually become non-water phobic and blend with the water so that you can spray it on your plants. However, Castile soap, like dish soap, can be used in itself to suffocate or dry out a lot of these soft-bodied pests. I learned how to make this because I believe in the microbial food web of living soil and building my soil so that the soil feeds the plants, not necessarily nutrients feeding the plants. I use my nectar. I love using also Recharge from Real Growers. And I'm going to be leaving a link down in the description where you can get 10% off of Recharge, one of my favorite new additives that I use for virtually every part of my feeding. This my little beauty right here is called Castile Soap or JADAM, okay? The items that I needed for this, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to be mixing, but this is just my upfront. Items I'm going to be using today is canola oil. This is potassium hydroxide, okay? And while in this state, it can be volatile when blended with the water. But once it's done with the reaction, it then becomes very inert and safe. And this can actually be also used as a soap for cleaning your hands and whatnot, or what they consider a mountain soap. The last product we're going to want to do is distilled water when we make this. It will not be this clear if you use regular tap water, things of that nature. I stick to the distilled water on this, and it doesn't have to be anything special, just a distilled water. You want a very neutral, 0 parts per million or extremely low parts per million water, so that the potassium hydroxide, KOH, lye, whatever you want to call it, so this doesn't react and cloud it up. And then it'll come out beautiful, golden clear. Now, what you see me making here will produce 2.5 gallons of Castile soap. Now, you can also mix in things like peppermint oil to give it that scent that bugs don't like. You could mix in garlic, you could steep it and then add garlic to the soap. These kind of items are things that the soft-bodied creatures like aphids and mites, they don't like the smell, they don't like it being on them, so it tends to help them keep away. Soap alone at 1 ounce per gallon for just IPM, Integrated Pest Management, for helping maintain everything. 1 ounce per gallon is all you need in this. Blend it, and you can use it as a wetting agent or as a suffocant for your soft-bodied insects. As the problem gets worse, you could go up to 3 ounces in a gallon to really work stronger on your IPM if you have a real infestation. If you build this now, you're going to have it ready when it comes that time of the year, when the aphids come out of nowhere, when the aphids come out, when the mites come out, when the thrips come out, all of those different soft-bodied bugs, when they come out, you'll be ready. Now, I keep this in a 5-gallon bucket out in the grow shed. So I have it ready. I built it last year. I used it all last year, and it does work, folks. I'm telling you. So this is what I use. I don't use dish soap. I don't use that as my wetting agent or any of that. I now use my Castile Soap or JADAM. It's a very healthy way to take care of your plants. Folks, you're going to thank me that you have this ready if you do come across an infestation or for your integrated pest management. It has no scent, so you could use it indoors. You can use it outdoors. It doesn't matter. You're going to have this stuff and it's going to be ready. I will also leave a link in the description for where I've got my potassium hydroxide so that you know where to get it. You can get it on Amazon. Real easy product to get. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and I'll show you the video. If this is something that you don't feel comfortable with doing, by all means you can buy Castile Soap. I would recommend Wood's Castile Soap. Now, in its raw form, the items I'm using is potassium hydroxide. Now, this is used to make soap in its raw form, and when it blends, it has a reaction that can cause a lot of heat. That's why I have gloves on, I have a hoodie on, I have a hat, and I have my glasses right here for safety. You also want to do this in a well-ventilated area. I've just done my research and learned how to make it. What we're going to need for this, now I got this off of Amazon. This is 2 pounds of potassium hydroxide, okay? And for this one, we are going to be needing 350 grams of potassium hydroxide. The word of caution, water before the lye. Now this has several different names, lye, KOH, potassium hydroxide, there's several names for it. The one thing that I want to tell you about now before I go, put the water in before the lye. If you don't, you could die. Meaning, this is going to have quite a reaction. The temperature is going to rise rapidly, and there's going to be fumes. Hence, I'm outside doing this. I want a lot of open air so that this stuff doesn't, it's got a kind of a funky smell. And the last item that we're going to need here is canola oil. Now I'm going to be using 1.8 liters of the canola oil in here. This is a 1 liter vessel right here. So now I will tell you that you may want a mask for this. If you're not using a mask, you want to keep away from the bucket. First of all, for the fumes. Secondly, so if there is any splash, that it doesn't get on you, because it will burn your skin. So without further ado, I'm going to put my safety glasses on. First things first, and these have sides on them, the whole 9 yards. So I'm going to go ahead and add my water first. Remember, if you're using the same vessel that you're using for your lye, you need to make sure that you dry this out completely so there's no reaction. So I'm going to go ahead and add my water. From this point on, I'm going to bring you in and you'll be right over. Okay, so I've added 250 milliliters of distilled water. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly add my potassium hydroxide or lye to my mixture. Really slow, you want to add this in. Don't just pour it right in. It's going to have kind of a, you can already see the heat coming off of it. I'm going to stir this up until it is completely clear. That's when you know it's ready. You can see that it's milky, it's kind of cloudy right now. If you look in there, it's cloudy. And what we want that to do is turn completely clear, and that'll be the first part of the reaction complete. That way you know that it's blended. I can actually feel the heat coming off of the bucket. And I'm keeping my head back away from this so I don't have to have any kind of smell to it. Okay, and that looks like it's cleared up quite well. So we're going to go ahead now and add 1.8 liters of canola oil to this. And that's going to be what we need to actually make our soap. So, but what we're going to do is initiate this and get it blended. So I'm going to go with there's 1 liter. Okay, we'll add this. Now I've got 1.8 liters of canola oil into there. And now it's just going to be a stirring process. You want this to be really slow. You don't want to do this on a high speed. So take your time and you'll see it start to blend up for you. So what I'm using is my stirrer here, and I'm going to slowly stir this. I don't want to go fast, I'm nice and slow. And you'll see it get real milky when it's ready. Okay, now essentially, this is a waiting game. You have to let it cure, is what you're going to be doing. Once the lye reacts in here, it's not going to burn your skin. You can use this for soap on yourself if you want. We'll come back to this and I'll show you the final product when it's completely cured. Okay, you see how thick that has gotten now? This is where you want to get it to. When it's thickened up like this, that is where you want it to be. That's going to thicken up and it's going to harden up, and soon enough we're going to have our JADAM soap, Castile Soap, whatever you want to call it, and used for our wetting agent. From that point, we need to break it down so that it can be used as a wetting agent. All right, folks, here we are, day 3. Now you see the effects. It's been setting and has hardened up. If you look here, very hard. And this is essentially your soap phase. You made Castile soap at this point, pretty much. And so the next thing we're going to do is make it JADAM, which is more of a liquid form. So now we have to add 1 gallon of water, start mixing that up, and then add another gallon, and it's another 13 ounces of water after that. However, we're going to go ahead and mix it up and turn it into its liquid form of JADAM. That's very organic, very natural now. It's, as you can see, the solution has reacted. It's done reacting. So everything now is non-toxic, nothing. It's all organic now. Yeah, I highly don't recommend tap water, filtered water, when you're breaking this up, you always use your distilled water. And again, 2 gallons of distilled water plus an extra 13 ounces after this, but it's a slow process. Right now I want to start working it in the first gallon, and we'll add another gallon here in a day or two to keep it working when it's getting slower. And we're gonna bring back the paddle and put that on a real slow speed to start blending this. But I'm getting it all off of the bottom right now. I want it all, so nothing's stuck on the bottom. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm digging in there, getting it off the side walls, trying my best to get it broken up, because it did solidify like it's supposed to. That's a good thing, but now you got to get it removed off of the sides. I'm told that this can actually be used as laundry detergent, as dishwashing soap, different things like that. Very organic. So there's a lot of different possibilities using this JADAM or Castile Soap. So I'm breaking it up, and again I'm peeling it off the bottoms is what I'm doing. So I just want to break it up here. You'll see your water start to turn color. That means it's a good thing. And of course you see the soap doing exactly what soap does. So you want to be, you don't want to over stir it, because then you'll lose the effectiveness of your JADAM soap, if you will. Your suffocant. You don't want it to react, and you know, if you go too fast, it's going to foam up and come out of the top, just like any soap would. So yeah, so I've got that kind of broken up now. I'm going to come back in a while and stir it a little bit. Alright, now we'll put the lid on. We'll come back in about an hour or two and work on it some more. Alright, so we're here at the finished product of the JADAM, and you can see how liquid it is now. There's no more clumps of the, I guess we would call it Castile Soap, but now this is ready to use. So according to the application rates on this, and I'm not by any means an expert on this, but this is what I go off what I've read and researched, is 1 ounce per gallon for just regular applications, for either using for a wetting agent or as an insecticide. You can use up to 4 ounces a gallon of this, and it'll last you quite a while. As you can see here, this is a 5-gallon bucket, and I'm a little bit over half full, considering I've added 2 gallons of distilled water. Always use a soft water, like a distilled water that has really nothing in it, no parts per million, nothing. It's a very clear, or this here, the way it looks, will be cloudy white and really not as good as you could expect. You could use water from an evaporator or something like that. Maybe if you have a heat pump, it pushes out water from the condensation of your heat pump, and that's also like a distilled water. But I just go ahead and get gallons of distilled water. They're not that expensive, but now I have 2.5 gallons of a very organic type of a soap solution, similar to what you would use in a dish soap, but without any kind of additives that could cause damage either to the plants or even to me as I consume the peppers.
All right, well, I hope this inspired you to make your own JADAM Castile soap and allow you to be ready when that time comes in the year that you can spray down. Now, when I'm working in my greenhouses, I have to keep the pest management under control, because in that kind of an environment,
it can get out of control really quick. And if you grow on an indoor space like that, you know what I'm talking about, because you don't have the aid of the outside bugs to help you along. Tell me, is this something that you like? How do you like using your IPM or Integrated Pest Management? What is your preferred methods? Remember, go down there, like and subscribe. Have a great day and keep growing.